Hola, everyone. Hello. It's been so long on this channel. I use it so infrequently. And to think that this almost replaced my main channel at one point. um, anyway, so on the other channel, I did a lion spread. Lion spread was coming off of the energy of Aries season. Aries season, bringing an energy. I think I mentioned it on this channel, how it felt like there were certain aspects of the divine, maybe, that were being drawn to certain people because of who they are in their life. And it was like it's, I want to say, fundamentally aligned with an aspect of like a deity or whatever, or just the divine in general. And it seems like now that energy is like it's coming through on the main channel. Um, I was thinking about lion earlier today from that lion spread, and I was like, oh, this is like what that energy was feeling like that I was noticing for a minute. And I guess because it went back to when I used the Dreams of Gaia, and it was that Eight of Wands that had like, it was the archer that had the hawk face. Anyway, so I kind of want to just like go live on this channel and pull cards and see what comes up, see what comes out. But today, I'm going to use a deck that I just received, the Next World Tarot, and a deck that I got a minute ago, the Offset Gypsy Tarot, together. I think they'll play well together. It's almost like I was drawn to them for some reason, right? I don't know what that reason is yet, but I almost think that they might play well together, and they might together fill a niche or a niche. The Moon and the Ace of Swords. They might together fill a niche. The Moon and the Ace of Swords is interesting, because I feel like outside of this deck in particular, that can be like when it's either a silence that speaks volumes, or it's like the things that weren't said, the things that weren't mentioned, and how telling it is. Um, there we go. You get a little bit of the messy fridge, but that's fine. That's the same tea back there. Still ain't drank it. So I'm going to start with one of these Next World Tarot cards because they're huge. And then I'm going to pull the rest of the spread in the Offset Gypsy. And then we'll see Lion spread for the Hyra family. I don't know, like I don't use the Instagram anymore. I made the Twitter. Maybe I'll go back to it. Maybe I won't. We'll see. All right, one card, please. It's like very big. Like this is my hand. I don't think I've used. Yeah, I haven't used either one of these on the other channel yet. Like I said, I'm trying to figure out how and where. Sometimes I just use them on the channel and then I find out. This one, we gotta see. I might just have to pull one at this rate. I would love it if you just like. Let's get it warm. The Empress and the Eight of Wands. This is Earth, Taurus, Venus, and direct action Mercury and Sagittarius. Mercury is in Taurus, about to retrograde. The Empress and the Eight of Wands is the noble heart of this lion. And this deck in particular, we see the full moon in the back. The Empress is holding a wand, it looks like. And then is this the Sun and the Eight of Wands? Truth stands out to me. Eight of Wands is a card of communication, but in this deck, it's specifically truth. It's like, well, we can communicate anything. And this person is approaching the Empress. If it were this way, then it would be like the Empress is sending word. But it's a fast moving energy. I also have the book. I'll read it. Because I'm curious how this book reads. And some of the illustrations are. Ooh, oh my gosh, this is a lot. The Empress, the sense of safety is vital to taking action. Whether it's self expression, fighting back in any given instance, or simply going outside. These actions, whether small or significant, require belief in our own survival. When feeling drained, the Empress cultivates sanctuaries in her home and her brain to fortify her bones for creation and stepping up. Direct action is the tagline for the Eight of Wands. And this one, the entry for the Empress starts out by saying to take action, we need to feel safe. Safety is vital to take action. The Empress asks you to rework the body's connection to the space that surrounds you. As you heal, you will see your work manifest as creative magic and your grind manifest as whatever you choose. The Empress is surrounded by the ocean, deeply in tune to the depths of her subconscious, pulling out what no longer serves you and elevating the mind and body you deserve to nourish. The Empress asks you to believe in sexuality without the institutionalized guilt that often rides in tandem to pleasure. The Empress wants you to feel fierce, wild, and beyond your dreams. Now begins the challenge to fortify your heart in order to give and receive love to its fullest extent. Ooh, the wands are first. Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands is out of our armor, beyond our oppressors, and raw with wisdom, we can rise for the higher cause, own our greatest work, and heal our living bodies. The Eight of Wands signifies freedom from the limitations of society. He leaps forward, trailblazing a concept or sacrificing an outdated sense of security for the sake of sharing his truth. So the message of this card is safety is vital to taking action. In the first paragraph. The first paragraph of this one says sacrificing an outdated sense of security for the sake of sharing his truth. Okay. So now I'm going to go in with these. We'll see if anything comes of this, honestly. So maybe there's a false sense of security with this is the noble heart. The noble heart of the lion, it does principally stand against authoritarian misrule. So that would be sort of, it could be systems and structures that are set up to give a certain sense of security if you like abide by a certain set of norms and customs. But if you deviate from that, then you're afforded no security from the system. Since lion is principally against that, I don't know if she's going to be more directly involved here, but we'll see. I'll pull the top from the top and the bottom from the bottom. I'll give it a few shuffles till they feel good. The pips pip in this deck, meaning that the ace through the 10 is ace through 10. 1 coin, 2 coin, 3 coin, 4. 5 1, 6 1, 7 cup more. 8 sword, 9 sword, 10 cup. And then even the court cards are kind of. Oh, snap. Well, we start with the 9 of Wands. At the top. Or, no, I'll leave this off to the side. So we have the Tower as the sustainer. We have the Hermit as in position 3 as the Queen. In position 4, we have the 7 of Wands. Lots of wands. In position 5, we have the Queen of Wands. In position 6 is the 5 of Pentacles. In position 7 is the Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, so she is a little more active here. Bottom of the deck after that is the 8 of Pentacles. The 8 of Pentacles is what on the other side, that's what attracts lion energy. It's like when we're doing the work, then lion comes in and offers us its wisdom or offers us a new perspective. It offers an Ace of Swords in return for that 8 of Pentacles. Here, lion is offering Queen of Wands, which is her magic. I almost feel like, though, lion is so interesting. Okay, well, before I get into this, let me get a general overall feel. So, we view lion as tower. The tower is anything, it's a cleansing energy. Things that need to fall will fall. And that was a thing, right? There are certain systems that afford protections, but it's almost like they demand more in sacrifice than they provide in service. This is an active lion in that it's doing something. The truth of lion is the Hermit. They're both majors this time. The last line was like the 2 of Pentacles. This line is the Hermit. This Hermit is inside. I can't tell if this is a bedpost This right here, it almost looks like it could be the shadow or a silhouette of a person. Here's the tower again. This tower is interesting though, because it feels like because the lightning isn't striking the tower, it feels like it's more illuminating something than it is taking something like destroying it. It's like when lightning strikes very close and it like flashes in the sky and everything turns that like white. Then we have the Seven of Wands with the Queen of Wands. See, the pips are very pippy in this deck. Oops. And then we have the Five of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles. Again, very pippy. This is interesting. It just because it feels like so the mountain and then the Nine of Wands is the card that came out at first. The Nine of Wands is a card of endurance. The Nine of Wands also came out the last time I was live on the other channel. And it was symbolic of the things that we do that the divine takes us through to reach a certain end goal. What's interesting here is like this feels like a lion that observes. It's almost like on the other channel, maybe it was for us to do the things within our power to do. And that's why Lion wasn't necessarily acting in its strength. Over here, it's almost this energy of like having done what we were supposed to do, but still coming up short for not our own fault or not our own reasons. It's like there's some lack of support or some lack of recognition externally. And where we would be in that Five of Pentacles energy, Lion is coming in and offering an Ace of Pentacles. Almost like offering to relocate us to an area where the systems are more just or more in our favor. This Hermit, I can't get over this Hermit. I also have the Witch's Tarot. I'm going to pull before and after the Hermit in this one. Anything I need clarification in, I'm going to pull before and after. Because we'll see. Oh, look, the Empress and the Five of Swords. Those were the last cards that came out when I used this deck. And the Empress is here with the Eight of Wands. So maybe because that Empress and Five of Swords, it was an energy of almost like cutting out the noise. But it's all truth here with this Empress and that Eight of Wands. Knight of Wands. Very Wands heavy. I mean, I guess it is like the Lion, so I shouldn't be surprised. The Six of Pentacles, the Wheel of the Year, Temperance, and the Eight of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Five of Pentacles behind that Eight of Swords. The Five of Pentacles came out with Justice. I think when I did the Lion spread, actually. Or maybe it was after that. No, that might have been the last time I was live when I pulled all those different decks. I think it was actually the Lion spread. See, it's like something is being done this year. The Wheel of Fortune also came out because it was like between Pisces and Virgo season this year. It's like something being done this season, something being dispersed, but with Temperance, it's coming in slowly. And with the Eight of Swords, it's like it may be in areas that we don't see. So it's almost like looking at our path forward as we continue to do whatever we're doing. Lion is placing things on our path. We go from the Five of Pentacles to the Eight of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. Lion is offering the Ace. So I don't know if it's going to be ace after ace after ace this year. So that could be like 3 areas of our life that experience some kind of change. And then the Emperor. The Emperor, so after that Five of Pentacles is the Emperor and the Ace of Pentacles. And then the Hierophant after that. So maybe the Lion will give us one of these pentacles because she's coming out as Empress today and she came out as the Queen. Emperor is going to give us another pentacle, so that'll put us at 7. And then how we get to that 8th, I'm not sure. What am I looking for? The Hermit. Empress is with Justice. Ace of Cups, 4 of Wands. Interesting. The Magician, 6 of Swords. Hermit, where you eat? Hermit, where you at? Well, look. 3 of Cups in the Chariot is outside. The Hermit is in between the 9 of Swords and Strength. Strength is what came out. Yeah, I use this deck because I remember Strength came out as the Storm. This Storm is an Ace of Pentacles, which is weird. So if the Storm is the Ace of Pentacles and the Storm is like Lion in its full might, creating this new beginning, the Tower is here, so it's not weird because the Tower is a destruction for the purpose of creation. It's a purification. But this Tower only illuminates in this deck. It doesn't actually destroy. So I don't know if this is like 9 of Swords, Hermit, and Strength. I don't know if this is like... I don't know if there's a purpose or a reason behind certain events right now. I'm sure there's a reason why Lion isn't directly just solving everything. And so it's almost like Lion is like removing people from certain situations before the entirety of the situation changes. Because for others, like there's still something that they need to learn, or there's still something that like it's illumination, but it doesn't change it. It doesn't fall away. And that was what Lion was doing, I guess, before, because Lion was only offering the Ace of Swords. It was only offering information. But it was only offering that information like as we were doing the work. So maybe it's like it's because it doesn't... I don't know if it's counterintuitive or if it's easier understood when we put it into play, when we put it into action. Or if we understand it as we're working, as we're like building our own knowledge base. Then when Lion tells us, hey, try this, it's like, oh. So it's like it's a help. Instead of just giving us the answers, it answers questions that we have. So it's like if you're taking a test or taking an exam, then it's almost like guiding questions to get you to the right answer. But since it's an exam, they can't give you the answer, which is interesting because there's been an energy of like a minute ago when I started watching, which this is funny, when I started watching Morpheus on Netflix. I think it's Morpheus. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Morpheus. There were like the 3 fates or whoever, and they were like you get one question, and then the girl was like, she asked whatever question, and they were like, so, like you didn't ask the right question. If you would have asked the right question, we would have been able to help you like avoid meeting this one character that's going to be just ruinous, but you didn't ask us the right question. And then I watched The Magician's Elephant a few weeks ago now, and it was the same deal. There was a person, she was a psychic, and she was answering like you get one question, any question. And the boy was sort of like talking through what he wanted to know, and she would stop him and she'd be like, think carefully because you only get one question. Like, that's not the question that you really want to ask me. Ask me the question that you really want. And then it's like, since he didn't finish his question, like it didn't count towards the one question. And she was guiding him to ask the right question. And then she gave him the answer that started him on the journey. It wasn't easy. He had to do three impossible things. Um, but in that process, it brought a level of belief back to a place that had been missing it for so long. Okay, so now I'll look at the positions and I'll try to go through these real quick. So the Noble Heart is the Empress and the Eight of Wands. And this deck in particular, it's like a creative power of truth, or it builds things with an establishment of truth. And because it's based on truth, it moves quickly. It plays with like universal truths almost, instead of mankind's understanding of universal truths, or instead of the rules and laws that mankind makes. It's out of that system. Indicative of the principle. So the principle of the lion here, of this lion, I guess it's illumination, or it's the illumination of foundations. If it doesn't serve, then maybe it will like crumble. If it does, then there's no need. So with this tower, it could be that like there are things in our life that we've picked up along the way that actually work, or there is a kernel or a seed or a resonance of truth within it, and then Lion will come in and expand that, so we can build up like truth upon truth. I know in the last read on the main channel there was an energy of like it was Hang True and Lafruma, I think. Yeah, it was Hang True and Lafruma. And it's like when we see the truth of the thing rather than what we want to see to meet our own ends, it actually can take us a lot further. So it is, I guess it's based upon truth. Position 4. So this lion is convinced by the Seven of Wands, which is interesting. So it feels like this lion is convinced by, because the Seven of Wands comes after the Six of Wands, and the Six of Wands is victory and achievement and recognition. The Seven of Wands has a position of advantage in a lot of decks because of that victory. But it's almost like when you're at the top, how do you treat people and what do you do? When you're winning, like, do you create artificial barriers of entry to make it harder for other people to like succeed so that you can maintain your position at the top? Or is it like, do you give back? Do you motivate those who come before you? Trailblazer was also in this Eight of Wands. So like this aspect of lion, or this lion, it responds to the trailblazers. But again, it feels like it's more so about like what you do with it after you experience that achievement or that victory. Does it inflate your ego and then you fall into whatever ego trap, again, like pick a deadly sin? Or do you almost stay like humble? I don't know if humble is necessarily the word I want, but I guess it's the one I'm going to use. So this line, it responds to humility in leadership. Because it's like if lion was a kingmaker, and this lion could be a kingmaker energy. If lion was a kingmaker, like this lion is like, it's a hero king. It's a kingdom of truth. It's not one that becomes like a dictatorship that's all like seedy and shady and stuff like that. Um, And then the passive frame composure and charging the battery of this lion is the Five of Pentacles, which is like, it's, I don't want to say it's weird, but that's why it feels like this lion doesn't necessarily like change the entire system. It might motivate and inspire and assist those who would create better systems, because to, it's almost like to get this lion's attention, you have to be that like humble victor. But what encourages it to act, it's almost like the amount of adversity that you faced, because it's Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles that came out with that Justice card. It's like not getting assistance in places where we should get it. And that's when Lion is like, okay, authoritarian misrule, like, let's go. And it's like the more misrule there is, it's almost like there's a scale. And once there's enough weight on the scale, then Lion pounces type of energy. On the bottom, so the reality and how this lion holds itself is the Hermit. So this, maybe it's just, it's a lion that doesn't show itself often. Maybe that's why it offers the Ace of Swords. It offers its wisdom rather than its assistance, or rather than its power. Um, how Lion comes in is the Queen of Wands. She comes in fiery, she comes in hot. But with her coming in as the Queen of Wands, it makes me think of like the Queen of Wands is the queen that will make you feel good about yourself. But it's like, if you don't have any self confidence, if you're always me, like, you're gonna like irritate and aggravate that Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands might be like, I've already told you that you look good, like, and you are like, you're hot. If you can't see that, I can't do anything for you. That's some stuff that you need to go and you need to heal and you need to work through so that you can see the truth of you. Because it don't make no, like, I can tell you whatever until I'm blue in the face, but if you're not taking it in, it don't mean nothing. Like the Queen of Wands also empowers. She's wildly magnetic and radiant and attractive in her own right, because she exudes authenticity, going back to truth with Eight of Wands approaching. Like Eight of Wands approaching the Empress, it's an energy that you have to approach with truth. That's why it was holding all the truth, right? As it's approaching the Empress, and the Empress, again, she's holding that wand. They're looking in the same direction, the Empress and this Queen of Wands. Oh, look, purple hair, and then like the purple feathers. Okay, all right. I think maybe I do like these two together. I mean, I feel like they do play well together, or they play off of each other, but we'll see if I know where that still ends up. What about the Hermit? Oh, the Hermit is here. Even in the Hermit, like the Hermit is dressed in all purple too. Purple is crown chakra energy, which I guess, like, I'm not surprised about with this lion, or with Lion. Um, so Lion comes in to what, hype us up. I think the Queen of Wands is also very magical, but it's like an earth magic. The Queen of Pentacles is like, she tends to plants and she knows how to take care of things to make them grow. And so that aspect of the Empress is very like, the Queen of Pentacles aspect of the Empress is very like nurturing things to health. The Queen of Wands is almost like it's more magical. So maybe it provides things that aren't like water and soil. Maybe she's more like the sunlight, air. Or it's just like she does a magic trick and the plants just, she casts a spell on the seed and it grows like crazy. The strength and ferocity of this lion is the Ace of Pentacles. Bonus Fortuna. Do we get a bonus card? Bonus Fortuna is Latin for good fortune, but since it's bonus Fortuna, I'm actually gonna pull, let me put these on here. I'm actually gonna pull before and after the Wheel of Fortune. This deck has a Wheel of the Year, so I'm not going to pull it in the Witch's Tarot. Well, since it's a bonus deck from this deck, I'm going to pull before and after the Wheel of Fortune in the. Look at this. 8 of Pentacles, 2 of Pentacles. That's a 10 of Pentacles together. The 2 of Pentacles, there's one pentacle from the Empress here. There's another pentacle from the Emperor in the Witch's Tarot. And then this pentacle would be the third pentacle to get us from 5 to 8. 8 to 2. I got this deck from the card store, the Metaphysical store. I showed it to Eve and I sent a video to Reem. I got a backflow burner that's I can make community posts on here. I'll just post it in a community post. The top of it was a little finicky, so I feel like I need to get some tongs to, like, when it's hot and burning, put it exactly on the thing. But it's a grail with 3 dragon heads on it, and the smoke from it comes out of the dragon's mouths, which is like kind of cool. I saw it and I had to get it. And like the Metaphysical shop is surprisingly affordable. And when I say surprisingly affordable, I mean the stuff in it doesn't cost as much as I think it might. Because when I hear their price, I'm like, oh, I was expecting a little more. Who do we have? So we have the Cavalier of Swords, which is the Knight of Swords on one side. And then those are my 3 cards. On the other side, we have Temperance. And notice how they both have like these little like tail looking things. Like this Temperance is a mermaid. But that Knight of Cups looks like it could also be a mermaid because of the squiggly things. Knight of Swords, not the Knight of Cups. This Temperance is also interesting because not only because she got a little booty crate. Oh gosh. Aquarius and Pisces is this Temperance. It's interesting though because the waters come from the heavens. Like we see the water below, but she doesn't actually interact with it. The last time I was on here, I used a Lafruma. And I remember Waterfall was here, Apple Bear came out, and maybe Lafruma came out. I don't remember. But it was an energy of like, there are these higher energies that are coming in that resonate to those higher energies. That's another thing that came out recently in the last video I did, because it was the superfluid energy. And it was like, you have to create a vessel from the superfluid energy because it only interacts with itself. It'll flow through and around anything that is not of it. So we have to find a way to capture the incapturable, form it into something that can hold it, right? But last time over here was that like, because it was coming in, but it's like, well, how is this energy coming in? It's like, well, you have to resonate at that frequency to receive it. And then it's like, you have to be there to get there. How does that work? That's also kind of why I love this channel. They're just different. This was my safe space to be as whatever as I wanted to be. And to not sort of filter as much or to not try to like ground it. This is my opportunity to just keep it ethereal. You know what I mean? Or to try to. And then I started doing that more on my other channels. So it was what I needed it to be before I could be that over there. 3 majors. So the Wheel of Fortune, and it is the Wheel of Fortune here. It's between the World and the Star. The world was the tower of the other spread. So I feel like this is the same lion, but we're seeing a different side of this lion. We're seeing this lion almost, I think we might be seeing this lion almost more in its truth. Not only because there are two majors here, but because, again, like both of these cards have to deal with illumination. Like where the longest bolt of lightning is striking, the clouds have cleared. So there's something about this that cuts through the fog, cuts through a fog of illusion, and cuts through a fog of deception. Again, in that last read, and it's been an energy for a minute, an aspect of Neptune that gives us the sight that we wish to see. So we deceive ourselves, we fool ourselves. It's that delusional energy. We cast that own veil upon ourselves because of the truth that we don't want to face. But since this is all about truth, that truth highlights and illuminates. It's also interesting because the fog has been a thing for a hot minute. Those who navigate out of the fog before it's like those who navigate out of the forest before the fog clears will find themselves in a space of mastery. With the Eight of Pentacles being at the bottom of the deck, this could also be symbolic of like the thing that we've already sort of done and completed. The Two of Pentacles also came out in that spread. Because I remember it was the Eight of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, and the Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles, this was the energy, this was the truth of Lion. So the world is what we saw Lion as. This was the truth of Lion. This is the energy that we needed to be in. So again, there's something about this energy that's already like, it's already done the work. But how do you move forward? How do you move in the world after that? Which is why it's like to go even further in Lion energy. Lion's like, okay, like you've mastered this. What are you doing with that mastery? The Seven of Wands. You've already like hit that point of achievement. It's not a completion, but it is an achievement. How are you moving forward? Do I come forward because you are someone who will remain sort of like open, or do I step back because you just like everybody else? And not like everybody else, but it's like the systems that have already been in place, the ones that are designed to keep certain people in a place of position or power, to keep the wealthy wealthy and the poor poor, basically. I didn't even think about that. Or I didn't even read it that way at first. Who's at the bottom of the deck over here? Did I not look? I looked at the bottom of the deck. I don't remember. The world. And we see the lion on the world. We see the eagle. So it's interesting that Taurus in this deck is like a minotaur, I guess. Not a minotaur. It's like a dude with bull horns instead of it being the bull. The eagle and the lion, and then you have these two people over here with that world. The world is also, that's like the laurel wreath, the laurel crown of victory, of that achievement. And then again, it came out with the star card. Why is this Leo? Oh, so the world is Leo, Aquarius, Jupiter, and Pluto. The Fool is Aquarius and Leo. Or the star, sorry. The star is Aquarius and Leo. Oh my gosh. Oh no, where did she go? Where did she go? Where did Temperance go? She's pouring out. Temperance was outside of the window. It was Temperance and the Knight of Swords. Oh, where did you go? I should have pulled those cards. The Cavalier of Swords. Okay, yeah, it was. Here it is. Look at this. How can I? There you go. Look at that. From the star to temperance. Both the star and temperance are energies of healing. Um, I don't want to put that back in the bottom. That's crazy. But it's like when it comes to temperance, it's already like been polarized. It flips. So this is almost like a third eye energy because the energetic, not meridians, the energetic tubes, the energetic cords at the third eye, they meet. And then it's like the channels. You have the feminine and the masculine channel that go up the chakras. They cross at, they meet at the third eye, and then they cross and meet again at the crown. So I guess no, this would be the third eye because the crown is kind of the top. Crown energy. But in the star, like that doesn't exist. It's just all dark. And then it's almost like we see those hermits on the side, maybe? Or is this like the Emperor and the Empress energies? Because the Lion is offering an Eight of Pentacles with her Noble Heart being the Emperor, and the Witch's Tarot, the Empress with the Ace of Pentacles, and the Witch's Tarot, the Emperor was next to the Ace of Pentacles. I feel like there's also like something about this Hermit, like the torch bearers here, and then the Hermit's lantern. That actually came out. There was that like Psyche, Cupid, the one who holds the torch, and the moon, and the Hermit in the Witch's Tarot, which was the Noble Heart there. So maybe this is just like it already has that Hermit and Moon energy from the last one, and then this Lion takes it a step even further. She comes in under the star. And then there's that Temperance again, which is like, oh, wild. This is the Wish Granter. And the Lion is offering the Ace of Pentacles here. Maybe that's also why Strength came out with the Nine of Swords. Because it's like there's the first part of it. It's almost like oh, and this is the yeah, because it's bonus Fortuna on this Ace of Pentacles. That's why I pulled this. I mean, it's the Ace of Pentacles. We're talking about our physical experience. Like we're in the Five of Pentacles. She's offering an ace. So maybe that is like, it is some wish granted energy. And since it's the Ace of Pentacles, like it has the power to completely change our lives. It's almost like, it's almost like maybe the Seven of Wands, Nine of Wands, maybe more so the Nine of Wands. It's like defending a thesis. It's a thesis defense. It's interesting. I guess not interesting. But the bottom of the deck is feeling more like a us rather than like necessarily the Lion. The Knight of Wands is here again. I just thought about when I used the SKT Revelations. I think it might have been. I don't think that was Pisces. Yeah, it was. It was Pisces season into Aries season. And the last three cards, it was the Page of Pentacles, the Page of Wands, and the Knight of Wands. With both that Page and the Knight of Wands, this is the Lion, the Salamander fire. Okay. Because it was like there's something within the self that is sparking and resonating with this aspect of the divine. It's like the fire within recognizes a higher fire. And I was just thinking about that because of this Nine of Wands, I guess. Or it's just like it's that energy. when we resonate to that and with that, then it responds to us. Over on the other channel, the Ten of Swords came out, I think, around maybe the Virgo full moon, or it was like earlier, maybe January, maybe even at the end of last year. The Ten of Swords, the Destroyer, came out with the message of like both the light and the dark are purifying the vessel to be able to hold more of the divine in preparation to receive the gifts. That's an energy that's also been like, it's been like surfacing and resurfacing as like a confirmation. It's like because the vessel was being purified, we're now holding more. We're now being open to more. We're now expanding and expect. I want to say expecting more, but I guess as more is expected of us, we can also expect more in return, right? More often than not, if you get a promotion, you also get a pay raise. Um, yeah. So, and there's like lots of fire. It's all fire and earth here. Literally, like the tower is fire, and it's modernly Pluto. Literally all fire and earth. Eight of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. Nine of Wands came out. The Tower, the Seven of Wands, the Five of Pentacles, the Queen of Wands, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Hermit. There was a lot of earth on the other side too, but I don't think it came out with. It was majors. It was all majors and earth on the other side. Interesting. So who's at the bottom of this deck? Who was it? It's the Knight of Swords escape plan. The Knight of Swords is at the bottom of the deck here. The Knight of Swords was on the other side, on the opposite side of the window with Temperance. I showed you. They were both mermaids. There's the Knight of Swords. The escape plan with Revolution on the license plate. This is interesting. Is it a hoe? It's not a hoe. It feels like a little. This feels like a gardening tool. Like she's holding a gardening tool as her sword. The Seven of Pentacles is behind this, which is vision. And then the Ace of Cups is under the Seven of Pentacles. It's interesting that it's like a little gardening tool again because of the Eight of Pentacles that's coming in. So I don't know. Um, Even the Six of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. It's this is a Hawthorn wand. See, it's like magical growth. This is the Knight of Wands, and these flowers are like blooming. That wand isn't planted in the earth; it's a stick. Like it's like after the wand is disconnected from the tree, you would expect for it to stop growing. It doesn't feel like he plucked one that was already flowering. His like his life force is now causing those buds to like burst and flower. I think Atburston also came out on this channel when with the water fall and that Lafrumic energy or whatever. I'm pretty sure Atburston came out. It's his own life force that causes it to blossom. It's our own life force that's going to. I guess after I literally say this is a channel where I don't have to tone it down, I can just let it be ethereal. It is. It is almost like we're learning some kind of magic, or we're being invited beyond the veil because ours, like, it's not like we would use that magic to again, become every corrupt, greed fueled whoever that already exists. This lion is principally against that, fundamentally against that. This lion isn't going to help us do the same. So maybe that Eight of Pentacles is her initiation. And the Five of Wands, like that was charging the battery. It's like the more we suffer from the Five of Wands, the more like upset Lion gets. And she's like, I gotta step in. So yeah. I mean, I feel good. I feel like that effectively communicated whatever I had to communicate. Um, I kind of want an oracle card, but also at the same time, I kind of don't. I'll pull a La Forma. Why not? Since I keep mentioning Watcher the Fall and Apple Bearer and Atverston. When I pulled the La Fruma on the other channel, a lot of title, well, both of the title cards came forward, which is my Live Life and Find Out card. The Live Life and Find Out, it's like, it's a nice way to say it's beyond our understanding or our capability to understand. La Fruma, Lion. Okay. Who is this? Anwilla. Bottom of the deck is Wickacraft. I mean, which is the witchcraft realm. And here we have these magical fire people that are creating life out of nowhere. Because again, it's like there's a difference between the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles plants the seed, nurtures the seed, and then like Earth does its thing, and the planet and the weather does its thing, and then you get the flower. The Queen of Wands is just like, and then there's a flower. She's the magician. She just, and again, it's like it's a conversion of her life force energy, but not in a way that drains it. It's like it's an extension of her life force energy to bring life. And maybe again, like that's the point of the Seven of Wands. It's like a life that begets more life rather than a life that drains resources and like causes decay in its environment. It's a wealth that breeds more wealth rather than the wealth that hoards. Um, Bottom of the deck, yeah, is that Wickacraft. So the cards that came out, it's Os and Onwardness. Os is God mouth. It's God and mouth. Onwardness is present, gateway, and Verdandi, the Norn Verdandi. This is God in the present. I will say, because it's God, because of the mouth and the gateway, be mindful of the words that you speak at this point in time. And it's not like you don't necessarily have to go overboard or kick yourself if you say, like, oh, this will never work. But it's like, just be extra mindful of that. Because Lion is working with you. Like, your mouth is the portal. Like, when we, like, the breath, the soul lives on the breath. When we inhale, exhale as we speak, like, that's, I guess, our life force being exchanged with the universe. And that the mouth is the gateway. God is in this present moment. The divine, like Lion is like, I am here. I'm like, wait, okay. A soundwardness. So yeah. I mean, Anwilla number 43, Willful Resistance. Maybe this is a positive aspect. Anwilla for me sometimes can be willpower. It was like one day randomly, Anwilla was like, hey, like I can also be willpower. I was like, oh snap. This is willpower. This is the willpower that it's like it's in this Five of Pentacles where like we keep going rather than it's like rather than being energetically beat up and dominated by an unjust system, we push through that. And when we take energetic dominance in that situation, the divine responds, which is the Ace of Pentacles that Lion is offering. It's almost like when we submit to it, then we give it permission to continue to be. Anwula is willpower. And that was the thing with the Eight of Pentacles, or the Eight of Wands when I read it in the book. Right? What did the book say? I'm going to read it again for you. It was about foregoing past safety for something. Eight of Wands. He leaps forward, trailblazing a concept or sacrificing an outdated sense of security for the sake of sharing his truth. Sacrificing that outdated sense of security, sharing his truth, and then finding the divine in the present moment. Maybe it's one of like, you could be, I think, someone who's like, well, I don't want to get my hopes up because then I don't want to be disappointed. Or it's like, if you're surrounded, like if you're with other people, or even if you're by yourself, like you might be like, well, maybe it won't work. Maybe it won't work out. Maybe this won't happen. Maybe that won't happen. So that you don't like, it's like, it's just like playing it small. It's like a safety thing. It's like, take the safety off. Oof. We got enough of that in America. All right. So now I'm going to get the final shuffles and I'm going to put these cards away. This is interesting. I'm glad I did this. I'm not super surprised, but because again, like it's an energy that I could feel. Like it felt like there was some aspect of the divine that was like coming in. And maybe because I remember like there was the super flume up here, and that's where the star is. And then it was coming down into temperance. And it was like, if we can get up to where the star is, like we'll be in that energy. And then I came over here and it was like the water to fall and Atverstan and apple bear, like the fruits are like bursting. This energy is coming in. But the energy can only, like, it can only be where it is. So it's like we had to be at that level to like receive it. Which is a little like, but I guess it's like, God helps those that help themselves type of energy. Okay. Earth Mason. Earth Mason and Earth Grap are coming out. Maybe this is when it started. Earth Mason and Earth Grap. Earth Grap is earthly power. And it's die. Earth Grap is like, oh, this is Earth Mason. It's the Earth Mage. And then we have Aegis-Homer. It's just like people and egos are so weird that, again, it's like you wouldn't give a loaded gun to a toddler, and you wouldn't give a loaded gun to, unless you wouldn't give a loaded gun to someone who's going to go and commit heinous acts, right? So that's why the divine, it's almost like that's why, this is my own personal truth. Is that like, I don't see, there are aspects of like the Matrix that of course I don't agree with, but it's almost like if that's what it takes for people to learn to be decent people, you know what I mean? Because it's like, again, like you wouldn't give a loaded gun to a toddler and you wouldn't give a loaded gun to someone who's going to like do something bad with it. So it's almost like there needs to be a process of, there needs to be an allowance for us to mature. into things. And that's the aspect of like the Matrix that I don't disagree with. Because it's like with the way that some people are, especially with like no consideration for other people or with like very little consideration for other people, for those who are so self-motivated that they don't care what happens to others as long as they're good at the end of the day, maybe it's a good thing that, they're a little limited. So Gananga Gap, Year, and Rasa. This is my lunar eclipse room. Um, the Year of the Void and Alchemizing. I think Rasa was originally, was it I think to know? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I think to know was cunning. See, this is an understanding of those void phases. It's like it's the star energy. Because that's where the star is. The star is in the void. And from the void it pours these things out that we then receive with temperance. And the night and day in temperance, this is it's owl senses. I can't remember where it first came up, but it was this energy like there are some light spaces and there are some dark spaces. There's like there are light voids and there are dark voids, light holes and black holes. And any light in a dark hole will disrupt the space. Any darkness in a light hole will disrupt the space. And so we self alchemize in a way to maintain our integrity in those spaces. So it's like if you take how the yin and yang is traditionally, and if you're going into like the light hole, you like funnel all of the darkness on the yang side into the dot in the on the yin side. So it's like all white around with a black core. So then it's like you can go in and since the black is surrounded by white, it doesn't disturb that space. It's like how water and oil don't mix. And if you have a drop of oil and water, or even a drop of water and oil, they'll create like a little bubble, basically. It's like that. But instead of it, like, it's micellar, it's how you like wash dishes and stuff like that. Um, it's like you have your oil and you surround it with water. So you have to have a molecule that is compatible with both oil and water. You have to have a molecule that has like the organic part and the inorganic part. And then what happens is organic sticks to organic. This is the like attracts like of whatever the alchemy card just came out. Honey, saccharum, sugar. The organic will stick to the organic and the inorganic will stick to the inorganic. Water will stick with water, oil will stick with oil, dark will stick with dark, light will stick with light. And so what happens is like the dark side of it keeps your dark side intact while the light side of it interacts with the light in the light hole. And then like vice versa. When we can do that, we can enter these spaces without disrupting them and we can pull more from the void. When it first came out, it was like some power of creation. It's like on the light side, it's like supermarket sweep. You can have anything and everything you want, but as soon as the dark comes out, you get shut out. So it's like you got to get in, get the stuff, and get out. Dark side is basically the same, but maybe the dark is more about creating what is not, creating what is yet to be, and the light is like receiving what already is. I don't know. But yeah, Gananga Gap. Should I? Well, void seed and oh, it's the seed, but it's a seed that we use magic to grow, and this is harvest. From seed to harvest, like immediately. But that's like the power of magic. Again, that was like how it just you encourage the seed to just automatically be ready. It's a power of acceleration, I guess. Bottom of the deck again was explore and alchemize. I like alchemy because alchemy, it's like it demystifies it. It's like if you knew the steps, you'd be able to do it too. It's not that it's any less magical, but it demystifies it, like I just said. So the sun at the cut with that Six of Pentacles. There was a thing, was that it had to be 2020 when the world goes dark, shine brighter. Ace of Swords with that Six of Pentacles. Those who navigate out of the forest before the fog lifts will find themselves in a space of mastery. Because it's almost like if you need a rescue, it will rescue. If you don't need a rescue, it can do anything else. It's almost like it gives everybody 5 minutes. Ask your most pressing question. Sometimes, if we have an issue, if we need advice, we use that 5 minutes to get an answer. If we can resolve our problems, especially if we feel that we can resolve our problems on our own, then instead of asking for advice, maybe we wax philosophical. It's like, so we use our 5 minutes to grow, expand, and explore rather than to solve something that is going on. Everything in our own time, of course. Guess what? Ooh. The sun came out again, this time with the Ten of Swords and the Two of Swords. This, I feel like it almost reads as masochistic. There's the Two of Pentacles after this Two of Swords. Because it's like it's someone who can go through the Ten of Swords but know that there's like a greater whatever behind it. We also see the owl up in the branch. The owl, the owl. I don't know if the owl is like watching to see if we've actually gone through this process. Maybe this is like how we try to convince the divine, like, oh, I've done it. Like emphasis on how we try. Try. It's like, oh, I've done it. I've cut this out. I've done this. And it's like basically we play possum. We play along, like, whatever we promised the divine, we did. And like we keep doing it, and we're like, is the divine still looking? And then we go and we do whatever anyway. Owl is still there. So if you get up, like the owl knows that these swords, it's like owl is waiting for blood. Owl is looking for blood. There's no blood on this card, which I'm glad for. Like, I don't want a bloody card, obviously. But it's like if there's no blood, it's like look at this sword. It feels like that sword is like tucked between the arm. It's like, is it happening for real or are you just playing? But what'll happen is when the sun comes out, if that Ten of Swords isn't completed, that darkness is just going to spew everywhere. It's just going to go everywhere. Which is again the owl, the owl. When we enter those lighter areas, we keep our own darkness under control. We can do that so that we don't bring darkness into a space that there doesn't need to be any. And then when we go into the unknown, if we go into the dark hole, the black hole, we can go into the unknown, and our own sense of knowing doesn't distort things like it did for Odin. That was the hang true with the Lafruma that came out last time. Can we go into the unknown and allow ourselves to be taught, or are we so reliant upon that which we already know or that which we already believe that we can't be open to a truth that we don't already sort of believe in? We go in seeing what we want to see, and it creates this disparity between what is truth and what is not. Or it's like what is like the truth and what is our truth. And if you're going into a black hole, it might be a little more relatively absolute. Relatively absolute being like it is an absolute truth, but it might only be absolutely true for you. It may not necessarily be absolutely true for everybody. But the difference is it's a greater truth for us. So it doesn't play on the things that we already, whatever. If we hold too fast to our own understanding, we can misinterpret, mishear anything. We hear what we want to hear. We see what we want to see. Knight of Cups, or the Knight of Swords with that. Oh, it is the Knight of Cups. No, this is the Page of Cups. Girl, I don't know anything. Page of Cups with the star. But that's just like when our currently held beliefs don't interfere with our ability to learn. Going into the void with our light held inside and our darkness protecting it, serving as the buffer. Because like if you have it under control, then like it's fine. It's not gonna like leak out or go anywhere, right? It's not gonna disrupt anything. And I don't know if that's because of the perceived nature of light and dark down here, where like light chases out darkness and darkness tries to consume light. The card that came out is the Cavalier of Wands. Who has a shield with the sun on it. The Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands came out with the magical hawthorn thing. Are we apprenticed to the lion? The Queen of Wands had the sunflower on her thing too, but it was more, of course, it had grown more. This one is like starting to grow. This makes me think of the Journeyman and the Eight of Pentacles. The Journeyman, Eight of Pentacles for the lion, groundbreaking. It makes me think of the Journeyman and the SKT. Why not? ¿Por qué no? ¿Por qué no? Why not? I probably should have grabbed the other version. I think it's also in this one as well. This is also, I forgot, but then I remember. This is also like, because for a minute, Archangel Michael was coming. It had an energy that was like, we go to Archangel Michael and we need help. And Michael's like, I don't have our sword. Like, I don't have my sword. And we're like, what do you mean you don't have your sword? You're Michael. You always have your sword. And then Michael's like, you have my sword. So you go out there and do whatever. You can do this. You got it. And so we go and we do the thing and we reemerge like all bruised and battered and maybe bloody and like 9 of Wands up and 10 of Swords and all kinds of other stuff. And we go, Michael, I did it. Here's your sword. And Michael's like, what are you talking about? He was like, I did the thing that I came to you, and then like you were like, I have yours, you have my sword, like you go do it. It was like, yeah. And then you're like, well, here's your sword. And Michael's like, that's not my sword. And you're like, what? Michael's like, I'm Michael. I always have my sword. And you're like, but you said you didn't have it. And Michael's like, but now you know how to use a sword. So would you like me to train you, teach you further? Now we can spar. Now I can show you what you can really do with it. It's that energy. And again, that's something that clicked like earlier today that I completely forgot about. I just saw the Archangel Commander, and that's what reminded me. The Archangel Commander is next to, it's in between the Outlaw. Again, this Outlaw is the Eight of Swords, forsaking an old, outdated sense of security to go further in its truth. It's the Hangman. We see an Eye of the Sun and an Eye of the Moon. And then there's the Archangel Commander. And then we have the dedication of the Adept, Herald of the Earth. This is the Page of Pentacles that came out with the Page of Wands and the Knight of Wands. But anyway, when I saw Archangel Commander, I was like, oh yeah. And you see the shield? Oh, look. This Knight of Wands has a sword. See that? Michael's like, oh, like you found your sword and your shield. Great. Now I can show you how to, like, you know. And it was for us to do. You know? But yeah, I forgot about that. It did make me, it has an energy similar to that as well. Here it is. So yeah, you can see it in this deck. Coincidentally, believe it or not, how far back are we going? So I'm going to go to the Ace of Swords because the Ace of Swords is what Lion offers us on the other one, and it's the sacred word. I love that it's sacred word because it's like, again, it was this energy of like when we're on our journey to mastery, we can learn everything from everybody else, but there's still something that we'll be missing. That's when Lion offers us the Ace of Swords to like take us over the edge for us to really come into our own mastery. And then we have the Seeker. The Seeker was the card when I did, because I pulled 3 cards, it ended up being 5. And the Aries to Pisces, on Pisces to Aries, sorry, on the other channel. Pisces season left us with the Seeker. It left us with the Page of Pentacles, the Page of Wands, and the Knight of Wands all read us 1 card, and it read us with another card that I can't recall right now. But like the Seeker is that like we're not completely new to something. We're not new to this journey. We've been on this journey for some time. And we're doing all the things that we know how to do, but we hit a rut, we get stuck. We reach the end of what our knowing can sort of like do for us. And so we seek more from the divine. And then the divine reveals, and then we proceed into the next phase of learning, journeying, growing. We get initiated even further, whatever. Seeker came out with Pisces. And then Aries season was starting with the Keeper. The Keeper and the SKT is the Fool who's gone from Magician to the World card, who has picked up that every major energy along the way, and who reemerges as that's like the one who knows, because they've been through it. They've completed their knowing. Now they go through the world on like a higher difficulty level, which might be an easier difficulty level because you know now. But sometimes it's like because you know better, you're like kind of responsible for doing better. Anyway, so after the Ace of Swords is the Keeper. And then it's the Empress that we just saw with the Warrior. I think this Warrior becomes us. The Warrior also came out recently when I used this deck. So basically, I just wanted to walk you back a little bit. So it was the Ace of Swords, the Seeker, the Empress, again with that Eight of Pentacles energy. As we're seeking, Lion comes to us and offers us whatever it is that we need to know. Lion gives us that sacred word that we whisper to the bud and it bursts forward, that we whisper to the seed and then the seed becomes its truth. It almost makes me think of, I think it was an Earthsea, how things have like true names. So if you call one thing by another name, it can become that thing. So it's like if you speak to the caterpillar, if you call the caterpillar by the name that it will have when it becomes a butterfly, it instantaneously becomes that thing. Which is maybe again that plays on the like, be careful of what you speak right now because you're powerful enough and has the tendency to happen. And like that's not anything new, it's not anything groundbreaking. It's like we always had that capability. But it's like since we're stepping further into it, just be extra mindful. The Warrior, the Journeyman, and the Rogue. The Rogue is Moon in Aquarius, 7 of Swords. The Warrior is here. Here's the Page of Wands, the Herald of the Flame. That was the other page. And the Conservator is after that. Conservator energy came out. This had to be around that time because it was like while the Conservator is doing what he's doing, the angels are in heaven watching. That's where that energy of like we're catching the eye of the divine, and they're like really paying attention to how we're navigating because some aspect of the divine is like wanting to step in and initiate us even further. It was back in that time. So the Journeyman, the Eight of Pentacles, and the SKT goes through their process of mastery. Again, like look at this. So I wasn't like, I know I'm not completely off, but that's why it was giving me this energy. Because look at the Journeyman, and then look at the Conservator, 4 of Pentacles. The Journeyman is creating the 8th or the 7th Pentacle. They're in the process of working on this. After they master this, next is the 8th Pentacle in this living wand. And it's this living wand, this staff of magic, that made me think of this card in particular. Also, we kind of have a similar energy to like the two things coming down off of the star, and then they're like in the temperance they were meeting or whatever. And then on the other side again was the Herald of the Flame. No, on the other side was the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords could be like jealousy or envy or whatever. I mean, I guess like it's liable to happen. It's like, how easy is it to look at somebody else and think that they may have had it easier, or like, oh yeah, I could do this if I were them, or I could do that if I were them. And they must have had this and they must have had that because they can do this thing that I can't do. It's like, or maybe they just decided to like, do it and to stop making excuses. But, that's a little bit more of a little bit harder for some people to face. But Lion's like, again, at least how I read Lion, it's a spread that I put up on my thing. So if like someone like pulls the spread for themselves, it may operate completely different for them. Right. Which is partially why I did that one, like build with me. Like, because your cards may say something completely different. This is how I'm reading Lion, or this is how Lion is approaching me, or this is the Lion that's approaching me to read for the collective. Six of Pentacles is at the bottom of the deck. Six of Pentacles was at the bottom of the Witch's Tarot. It gives where we need to receive. And then we have the King of Swords under that Six of Pentacles, with the Page of Coins behind that on the other side. Looking in the King of Swords is looking at the Six of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles is looking at the Ten of Pentacles. That's the thing about Pentacles, though. It's the thing about the Six of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles is not a card of overgiving. The Six of Pentacles gives what is needed when it's needed to who it's needed by, to who needs it. That's why, in some depictions, it's like the Six of Pentacles might be given pentacles to one person, but not the other person. It's more equitable. It's like if you already got a million pentacles, why do you need more? Like this person doesn't have anything. That's why I'm giving them pentacles. You have plenty of pentacles. It's not fair. You didn't give me pentacles. Yeah, you're right. I didn't give you pentacles because you don't need pentacles. You gotta know. And I remember like in 2020, a few months into the pandemic and living with folks, I had a talk with my mom. I forget exactly what triggered it, but she was like, because I was like, I feel like they get stuff that I don't get, and like it's not fair. And my mom was like, they get stuff that you don't get because you don't need it. I give you what you need, and I give them what they need. Like, and there were certain things that like you were good at, like academics. She's like, you were good at academics, so I didn't need to like motivate you or to reward you for doing whatever as much as I did them, because they struggled with it more. And then she was like, there were plenty of times where I would take you out and we would do this and we would do that. The Two of Pentacles is the other half of this deck. There's two. So it's the Knight of Wands and the Two of Pentacles. But she's like, I would do stuff for you and like pour into you in the ways that I needed to pour into you. And she was like, you don't, like, you only see what I do for them in these ways, but you also, like, at the same time, I wasn't keeping in mind that the things that she very much so did for me. And I was like, oh. And that's like Six of Pentacles energy. Like, we get what we need. We might not need what other people need, and so we might not get it, and it's not to necessarily go like, that's not fair. They're getting this and I'm not getting it. And then, like, again, some of the stuff that people have, they work for. too bad. All right. Oh, well, I'll take it. The King of Swords has come out again. Bottom of the deck is the Ten of Swords again. The Ten of Swords is Ruin, Sun, and Gemini. This Ruin, based off of everything else that's come in this deck, it feels like someone who doesn't live in their own truth, or someone who doesn't communicate their own truth. And so truth for them becomes a burden, it becomes a prison, it becomes painful. There are some truths that are going to hurt, of course, but it's because of the letters. When we saw the letters with the Eight of Wands, or with that Eight of Wands energy, it was communicating truth. And it was all about like stepping out of safety if you need to be more authentic. This is the one that couldn't step out of safety, but not stepping out of safety only led it further to ruin. We got a whole bunch of cards that came out. I'm just going to read them. The King of Swords, the Throne of Knowledge, the Two of Pentacles, Intersection, the Nine of Swords, Despair, the Five of Cups, Loss, the Page of Swords, the Home of Action, Three of Pentacles, the Team, and then Judgment, Fire, Aries, Mars. Judgment is fire. The Tower is Mars. Did I say the Tower was fire? The Tower is Mars, sorry. So at the bottom of the deck is the Ten of Swords person who couldn't, for whatever, leave safety. And so the truth became like a burden. It became a prison. It became painful for them. It's like playing it safe led to ruin. With this Throne of Knowledge, like the cards that came out, it's the person that stands in their own authenticity. I think it does. Like, it's not easy. Because the Nine of Swords, it's not easy. And it's very like, almost like walking on pins and needles within the self and with others. Nine of Swords also came out with the Strength card around the Hermit. But it's like it has those painful conversations. Maybe it does face loss. Maybe there are some people that can't accept that truth or who don't want to hear it. But as that person continues to move with the Page of Swords, the Home of Action, then they come into this Three of Pentacles teamwork. They find the people that they can actually build with, the people who will support that truth. Like with that Tower energy, it's these foundations of truth. And if it's a foundation built upon truth, there's no need for it to crumble. If it's crumbling, then it might not have been based upon a truth. And then last but not least is the Judgment. Judgment, resurrection. Or it's just like they create systems that are more just that maybe they live in. And then maybe there are people who are outside of this, and then they have to evaluate if their energy, if the person comes with the truth or authenticity that is also like resonant and harmonious with the truth and authenticity that exists. Because sometimes people from the outside will think, and again, it's like the Ten of Swords in the other deck, in the Witch's Tarot, like, we'll think that something looks good, we'll think that something looks great, and so we'll put on a performance to try to be welcomed into it, and then maybe after a certain amount of time you find out that it was an act. Or it's like they can't, because that's the thing, I guess, about like truth and authenticity. It's like you can perform, you can put on, you can act for so long, but eventually like your truth in the space of truth, or a lack of truth in the space of truth, will cause that sort of ruin to oneself. And judgment, like, that isn't even necessarily something that like we don't even like do necessarily. Some people may feel judged by some people are like judgmental, But some people may feel judged because of who they are and what they're doing or not doing. And then they'll look at somebody else and see who they are and what they are doing and not doing. And in comparison, they'll create these scenarios in which, like, this person is whatever and whatever. Like, I had a friend who had very low self esteem, and he was a boss. I think that person did actually apply for a job and he didn't get it. There was somebody I met over the summer who was like super nice, very chill, but who was like more sure of himself. And he like, it wasn't like to pull rank or anything, but like he was involved in certain things and then he wanted to work at the place. And my buddy was talking about him. He was like, oh, he thinks he's better than me. And he was came up and he was asking for this person and he was like showing off or whatever. I was like, I know that guy. Like, he's not like that. Like, he was just asking for somebody. Like, that doesn't mean that he thinks he's better than you because he knows somebody. But again, like at that point, especially, his self confidence and his self worth was super low. And so he took it as like a blow. He took it as a challenge. He took it as somebody like judging him or whatever. And it's like, nobody thinks of you in this way. It's how you think of yourself. And then you project that onto other people and think that they also think that of you. But that could be like part of that judgment. It's like you have to be, because the Three of Pentacles is like a harmonious collaboration. And if there's anything that is disharmonious, and it's the light that disturbs the dark or the dark that disturbs the light, you start spilling it all over the place, then of course there's going to be some judgment. You know what I mean? It's like, we don't think this is a good fit. So anyway, active lion over here. Maybe I'll come back. I kind of do want to just like pull cards to see what'll come out, but not tonight. I need to go to sleep. But yeah, I hope y'all have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. And I hope that your mind remains intact as Lion comes in to blow it. So, bye. Have an excellent night all day. I don't know where you are when you're watching this, honestly. But yeah, I really want to come back. I probably will. I'll come back tomorrow. We'll pull cards. We'll see what's up. Maybe I'll go to the. We'll see. We'll see.